up, everybody? Welcome back to the 90s Kid. Sorry, it's been a while since I've made a video. I've missed you. All of you. It's good to be back. Listen, it's a spooky time of year. You know, it's almost Halloween. I thought, why don't we talk about things that scared the crap out of me as a kid? We're going to be looking at a few scenes from different movies that I watched as a kid that gave me nightmares or made it so I couldn't sleep. You know, stuff in movies that were shown to me with the understanding from what were supposed to be responsible adults in my life that these were made for kids and that these movies wouldn't scare me. And then, boom! Something happened and it scared the crap out of me. So, let's jump right into this, guys. The first movie I want to talk about is The Wizard of Oz. Now, my mom absolutely loves The Wizard of Oz. It was her favorite movie when she was growing up. It was her favorite movie when I was a kid. It was a movie that I watched quite a bit. What's funny is when people talk about, you know, The Wizard of Oz and what scares them about it, most of the time they're going to talk about, like, you know, the flying monkeys or the Wicked Witch. Those are pretty common fears. Mine were the Munchkins. The Munchkins.
Toto? I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
It's not that the Munchkins themselves were necessarily scary. I think what scared me as a kid is I recognized that for a good number of the Munchkins, the voices didn't match the people on the screen. You know, they re-recorded the voices.
As coroner, I must have her. I thoroughly examined her, and she's not only merely dead, she's really most sincerely dead.
Some of the Munchkins are played by kids, some of the Munchkins are played by adults. There's a mix of both of them, and something was not on about them. There was an ambiguity to the Munchkins that really frightened me.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
But I've already told you, I'm not a witch at all. Witches are old and ugly. What was that?
Oh, and hey, since we're on the topic of The Wizard of Oz, let's talk about its sequel, Return to Oz. Now, that's a weird movie. Any movie that has a scene where a child almost goes through electroshock therapy, I mean, that's some pretty intense stuff, obviously. Now, again, this is a movie that I think most people have one scene that scared the crap out of them, and it was when Princess Mumby goes through her gallery of heads. I think that's what scared most kids. I never got to that part as a kid because I remember seeing it specifically at my grandparents' house. That's going to be a running theme because my grandparents showed me a lot of things I shouldn't have been watching as a kid. My grandma liked to watch Unsolved Mysteries a lot.
Join us for this special report, Mysteries of Alien Beings.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that song. But anyway, it was on TV, and I remember watching it, and pretty much as soon as the Wheelers came on...
Come here, chicken!
That's when I noped right out of it, because I did not like the faces that are like on the top of their helmets, and then when they pop up and show their real faces, I do not like uncertainty. It is very upsetting to me. It was when I was a child, and it still is to me now. And I did not watch the rest of the movie until actually quite recently, when I rewatched it for this video, as a matter of fact, because I wanted to make sure that I was remembering it correctly. Also, when one of the Wheelers turns into sand later on in the movie, guarantee you that would have given me nightmares as a kid. I mean, they already did, but that scene too would have absolutely given me nightmares. Then there was, oh gosh, my babysitter had a movie that was incredibly obscure. Most of you probably haven't seen this movie, but you have probably seen the scene that I'm about to talk about because it went viral a few years back. But the movie is The Adventures of Mark Twain, a movie made by Will Vinton and his studio. Will Vinton was an absolute pioneer in claymation, and this was his most serious work. And when they tested this movie, it tested incredibly well with teens and college students, because the movie is actually about Mark Twain's misanthropy. It's about the fact that he doesn't think that the human race has much of a chance. This is not a children's movie. Not even remotely. Hey everybody, this is Editing Josh here. Originally, this section had scenes from The Adventures of Mark Twain, but the copyright owner blocked them completely. So we're gonna have to make do with screenshots. Sorry. Anyway, the scene is based on The Mysterious Stranger, a novel that Mark Twain never actually finished. And it's about Satan, not the Satan. This is the nephew of Satan, who just happens to be an angel. And he takes Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, and their friend. That's not who it is in the book, but that's who it is in the movie. And basically he creates this little kingdom and these little clay people. And they're going about their business, and it's all very cute, right? But then he gives them an ox, and they start fighting over it. And then things just get worse and worse, because Satan introduces plagues and earthquakes and... Okay, is that not incredibly upsetting? And me as a kid, I'm watching this and I'm sitting here thinking okay, first of all, this Satan guy is scaring the crap out of me because I grew up Mormon, so I knew that I was supposed to be scared of Satan, right? And I thought this was the actual Satan, and his face keeps changing, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And then he starts talking about how, life is just a dream.
Life itself is only a vision, a dream. Nothing exists save empty space and you. And you are but a thought.
And I was just old enough as a kid watching this to start thinking about oh shit, do I not matter? You know? I was just old enough for that thought to enter into my head, because I don't know if you know this about little kids. That thought would never enter into their head. They think they are the most important thing in this world, right? Which is fine. And then slowly you develop and you start to understand that, oh no, there's other people, and maybe I'm not the most important thing in the world. But to kind of have this thrown at you that human existence doesn't matter, that was a lot to deal with. That was a really scary movie. I don't know why my babysitter let us watch it. Yikes. Let's talk about PeeWees Big Adventure. That movie lulled me into a false sense of security. You know, I'm sitting here watching this adult who acts just like me. He has this freaking sick house. I freaking loved Pee-wee's house as a kid. It was my favorite part of the movie. He's going on this adventure to get his bike back, and we're having just a grand old time. And then, he gets lost, and he needs to pick up a ride, and suddenly the vibes are changing, dude.
On this very night, 10 years ago, along this same stretch of road, in a dense fog, just like this, I saw the worst accident I ever seen.
The sound and the music is starting to tell me that something's off about this person that has picked up Pee Wee Herman. And then suddenly...
And when they finally pulled the driver's body, from the twisted, burning wreck. It looked like this.
That scared the crap out of me as a kid. The absolute ever-living crap out of me. And if I didn't care so much about Pee Wee Herman finding his bike, I would have stopped watching it at that point. I would have noped out, just like I noped out of Return to Oz. But I was invested, so I had to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm glad I did, because, you know, it's an incredible movie. As a kid, for whatever reason, Large Marge looked a lot like my great-grandma to me. So I feel really bad because I was really shy and standoffish toward my great-grandma after watching this movie. For the rest of her life, basically. I wonder if she died wondering, what's that kid's deal with me? I don't know. And then there was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, this movie was upsetting to me because it took someone who I felt safe with, that is Christopher Lloyd, because 3 of my comfort movies growing up were the Back to the Future trilogy, and Doc Brown is my favorite character. So seeing him as a villain, already, I'm feeling pretty off balance watching this as a kid. Okay? And then suddenly, the scene where he reveals that he's the Toon, it really pushed me over the edge.
Not just a tune! Remember me, Eddie?
When I killed your brother, I talked. Just wait.
That's scary in its own right, but then this was supposed to be a person that made me feel safe. And now I can't feel safe.
Ow!
Proceed to the contract.
Louie, I'm scared.
You are. Good.
The last movie that I distinctly remember scaring me is We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. Now, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story is a weird movie. I mean, it basically follows an inventor who goes back in time, gives some dinosaurs some cereal that makes them smarter, takes them forward in time. They end up being part of a circus, which is run by this inventor's brother, Professor Screw-Eye. Professor Screw-Eye likes to scare people. And so he makes the dinosaurs scary. But that's not what scared me. What scared me is the way that Professor Screw-Eye goes out. Let's just watch this.
Will you change your ways and come with me?
Never.
Then we must go.
Brother, wait. When I am alone, when I have no one to scare, I get very frightened myself. The crows could...
Now, the first time I watched this movie, I was just old enough that my abstract thinking was starting to develop. So I think there was part of me that understood that this meant something. And I can recall nights, long after seeing this movie for the first time, when I hadn't even watched this movie recently as a kid, that I would, suddenly this would just enter into my head again, and I would just think about it. And just, it was, for lack of a better word, I don't even know that fear's the right word. It haunted me, I guess. Incidentally, I understand it now better. I guess there was a deleted scene. I read about this, that there was a deleted scene in this movie where Professor Screw-Eye talks about the fact that crows frightened him. And so that's why he uses crows, because it helps him feel like he's in control if he's making other people afraid with the thing that makes him scared. And so that ending is kind of like Professor Screw-Eye being consumed by his fear. I actually think it's pretty beautiful imagery now. Anyways, guys, those are some movie moments that scared the crap out of me as a kid. Why don't you guys go down in the comment and let me know what moments you remember from particular movies that scared the crap out of you. And be sure to like this video. I would greatly appreciate that. That would help this video in the algorithm. I do want to thank my patrons who have continued to support me even as I've been going through a particularly tough time getting things up on YouTube. Good news is I'm working on a couple different videos. I'm currently editing a video where I look at a couple VHSs that I used to watch as a kid about dinosaurs. And then I want to do a video about handheld emulation of retro game systems. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. Thanks for watching. Bye.